You're watching NFL Daily, and it's mailbag time. We answer all of your questions during our live shows on Monday and Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. The first one's coming in here from the Lord's Angel TLA. Do the Patriots trade up for a quarterback? I know that's been the popular thing to do in mock drafts. I actually still think that they don't go ahead and do it. Maybe if one of the guys that they really like ends up falling to pick, 10, maybe they go ahead and do so. But if I'm New England, I personally don't think that they do. Gary Sanderson, do the Cowboys have a Final Four on who they're drafting? So basically you're saying the top 4 prospects they could draft at number 10. I would say it's Patrick Surtain, J.C. Horner up there. I know Tom went like this if I said this, but maybe if a Rashawn Slater slides to 10, they go ahead that route. Maybe Elijah Vera-Tucker could be an option, but if I'm the Cowboys, I go ahead and take the top corner available and then wait in my later picks to go ahead and go safety. Gary, appreciate the question, though. If you're not already subscribed to our Cowboys channel, make sure you do. It's youtube.com/CowboysTV. Mike Dibble, go ahead and check out our Browns channel, chatsports.com/BrownsTV. Do you think if he starts to fall, the Cleveland Browns should trade up to get Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah? I think Joke is a phenomenal player. It's just where do you think he's going to fall? Because I don't really see him getting past pick number 23. So if you want to trade up to maybe pick 22 or 21 to get him, I'd also be very surprised if both the Raiders and the Patriots passed on him. All right, the Wizards, should Dallas take Chase if he's there? If Jamar Chase falls to pick number 10, it'd be a pretty tough thing to pass up. I'll also say this, if he falls to pick number 10, I could potentially see another team potentially going up to get him, but I don't see Dallas taking another receiver. He's a phenomenal player, and if you want to have Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, and Amari Cooper, then you're definitely going to end up moving on from somebody like Michael Gallup, but I don't think the Cowboys end up doing it. I also don't think he falls that far. All right, y'all, so Chat Sports, 3 straight years of the number 1 most watched NFL draft coverage. If you want to get more draft coverage, if you want to be able to interact with live hosts, there's no other channel that does what we do, and we know that. So go ahead, subscribe, and if you are subbed already, take that link that you see below, send it to some friends. I guarantee you this, if you watch our draft coverage, you will come away feeling like that you had a good time. We had 60,000 people live watching at one time. We got 300 people watching live now. A little bit of a difference. JJKLMR, Dolphins should trade up for Najee Harris, but keep picks 6 and 18. All right, so basically you're saying you take whoever at 6, take whoever at 18. You also have pick 36, pick 50, and I believe pick 51 or 81. For you to get back up into the first round and take Najee Harris, I think that means you got to jump a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers. So maybe even the New York Jets who could take him. So you got to get up to either 22 or 21. That basically means you're giving up pick 36 and pick 50, maybe something else sprinkled in there to go ahead and get Najee Harris. But, if you think that that's the guy you want, maybe. But I'll also say this, I ain't trading up that far to go ahead and get a running back. So you guys can let me know if you disagree or not. Let me know down in the comments section, should Miami trade up for Najee Harris? Type Y for yes or type N for no. He's a good running back. There's no doubt about it. Or do you wait to maybe get a Travis Etienne at 36? Do you wait to get a guy like, Javonte Williams at 50? Or do you take Michael Carter, who had a pretty good Senior Bowl a little bit later on in round 3? Running back is important. However, it's been a position that's easily replaceable. But if you think that the Dolphins should go ahead and trade up for him, Y for yes and for no. David Kyle, do you think Jerry goes crazy and move up to draft Pitts? I don't think that Jerry Jones goes crazy and drafts Pitts. Is it a good fit? Yes. Are people overreacting a little bit to Jerry Jones potentially liking Kyle Pitts? Yes. If you're an NFL, if you know what the NFL is and you don't like Kyle Pitts, I don't think you're a very intelligent person. So for people to overreact to some of the things that he said about Pitts, no, I'd be shocked if they traded up for him. Let's go to Christian Navarro. How well will the Saints do without having Drew Brees? I think they're going to struggle. It's a good football team in terms of defense. They have some good offensive players as well, but we're finally going to see that Taysom Hill is actually not a good starting, reliable quarterback. And if they don't go with him, they go Jameis Winston. We saw what happened. Basically, the Buccaneers team stayed exactly the same. They went from 7-9 to Super Bowl champs. All they did was realistically replace Jameis Winston. So I think the Saints are going to be in for a little bit of a bumpy road, especially because they're also in kind of cap hell. James, could Slater go before Penei Sewell? He could. I know there's a lot of people out there that think that Penei Sewell will go ahead, and that's where I believe if I'm an NFL team, I take Penei Sewell over Rashawn Slater. However, if you're a little bit confused about certain players on your offensive line and you're looking for somebody who's a little bit more versatile, Rashawn Slater actually might be the better option in terms of a guard than what Sewell could be, but Slater to me goes ahead of Sewell maybe in 10% of mock drafts, and I think in the real world, if you did 10 drafts, Slater would go ahead of Sewell in maybe 1 out of every 10. Sewell to me is the better player. All right, we got Nickolas Panell. What position do you think Pierre Desir will play in the Seattle defense? He's going to be an outside cornerback, and he's not going to start, at least I personally don't think he's going to start. But when you look at, I don't know, let's say like a depth chart here, right? Like he'd probably be right behind our cornerback 2 for Seattle. And then when you look at some of the other ways that he lined up on defense, like he's going to play that outside corner role. So right now as it stands, here's the Seahawks cornerback depth chart. I still got Witherspoon, I still got Reed starting, but the Sear to me is exactly what Seattle looks for. Long, lanky guys, and he's also physical, which is something that I know Seattle wants to be able to bring back. Anthony Manzano, if the Dolphins trade Xavien Howard, not going to happen, are we going to drop the corner in the first round, or do you see them more in the second and third? If you move on from Howard, you better get another first-round pick back. I mean, you're moving on from somebody that had votes to win Defensive Player of the Year. He had 10 interceptions last year. Like, I get that some people out there are talking about the contract. From people that I know personally, like, the contract thing has been totally overblown with Xavien Howard. But if you move on from him, then yes, I think you have to go out and draft a corner with probably pick number 18. Hell, maybe even try to trade up to get one, because if you don't get J.C. Horn, or if you don't get somebody like Patrick Surtain, do you take somebody like Greg Newsome at 18, or do you roll the dice with somebody like Caleb Farley? It's not easy, but if I'm Miami, there's no way in hell I'm trading Xavien Howard. Now, maybe you live in Miami, maybe you live in Dallas, Texas, maybe you live in Los Angeles. It doesn't matter the city. All I know is this: no matter what your zip code is, the Newsbreak app can be useful for you. Now, how do you download the Newsbreak app? Go to chatsports.com/newsbreak. Once you download the app, you can also go ahead and follow your favorite shows. The reason why I love this app out here is because you can stay up to date on all the things going on around your city, whether it's weather, whether it's pop culture. Maybe you want to get some extra news, some politics, all just filtered right to your phone. It's really simple to be able to do, and you're going to be able to stay updated. Maybe you want even more sports content. We got you covered. And if you're looking for even more exclusive videos from Chat Sports, you can get it at the Newsbreak app. The app is 100% free. It takes literally 5 seconds to go ahead and download, and it helps us out a ton here. So if you could, go to chatsports.com/newsbreak, download the app, and then go to the search button, search your favorite NFL team, and then find the show that we have around them. I promise you, you won't regret it. Let's go to Right On It. Are you right on downloading the Newsbreak app? I hope so. Are the Seahawks going to take a center at pick number 56? So you got Ethan Posick, right, who I thought did an okay job last year. It's a question of if a guy like Creed Humphrey falls, maybe that's the route you go. I don't think Landon Dickerson possibly falls to 56, but if I'm also Seattle, this might sound crazy because, again, they only have 3 picks. Could you potentially trade pick 56, go back and get maybe a later second-round pick and then another third pick? Like, that's what it comes down to. But the top centers in this year's class, Dickerson, who I don't think is there at 56. Humphrey could be there. Quinn Miners would be a solid option. Josh Myers and Kendrick Green, they're probably a little bit more of round 3 type of players. Green might be even around 4. But for Seattle, you got to figure out a way to get your players. But if you want to go round 2, Humphrey's probably the best option. Gundy Wundy, what would it take for the Steelers to trade up with Atlanta so they can get Justin Fields as Big Ben's successor? I mean, you're giving up pick number 24. You're probably going to give up next year's first-round pick. You got to give up your second-round pick, and then you might even have to throw in like a 5th-round pick. Like, to go up that many is a really, really tough thing to do. And if Atlanta is open to doing that, maybe the Chicago Bears say, well, we're also going to be interested as well. So for the Steelers, it'd be a really tough thing to pull off. Let's go to BT. What do you think about Jamar Johnson of the Cowboys in the 3rd round? It actually was what Mel Kiper thought about doing. I like Jamar Johnson a lot because he is a ball hawk, and he's exactly what I think somebody like, what's their defensive coordinator's name? Dan Quinn is looking to be able to figure out and do, because I believe Johnson had 4 interceptions last year, and when he was asked, like, what do you try to do, he's like, I just try to go get the ball. That's what the Cowboys need in terms of their defense, especially in that secondary. So I like Johnson. I'd actually think it'd be more of a better – the draft's about value. If I can get Jamar Johnson in round 4, I'd be a lot happier about it. But if you had to take him in round 3, I think it's also a pretty good pick. All right, what up, Cody? Who should the Saints draft at 28, and which quarterback is our best fit? So I think I actually already answered this one, but in terms of drafting at pick 28, you could probably go Rashad Bateman, maybe Terrace Marshall, somebody like Xavien Collins. If Jamin Davis ends up falling down to 28, it could be an interesting option. And quarterback, if I'm the Saints, I end up going with Jameis Winston. All right, y'all, so I want you to name a prospect that you think I should watch more film on. So Tom Downey, he's our main NFL draft guy. He does an amazing job, and I'm always trying to at least look up, 5 prospects a weekend to look a little bit more into. That way I can give better answers during my Q&As. That way I can also just give better information on the shows. The issue is, dude, there are so many players out there. So what I want you to do, give me some prospects that you think I should watch some more film on. All right, y'all, if you made it this far in the video, obviously I can't get to every single one of your questions, but I can promise you this. If you give me a follow and DM me your question on Instagram at Mitchell Renz 365, I will answer it. Or if you want to DM me a player that I should do more research on, the DMs are open for a reason. Let's go to Nickolas Panell. What position do you think Pierre Desir will play in the Seattle defense? Outside corner. He had over 800 snaps in the outside corner position. He also lined up on the defensive line here and there in the box slot, but he is going to be an outside corner for Seattle. He feels a major need. He's an athletic player as well, but Nickolas, appreciate the question. Jeff Stamps, do you think if Micah Parsons falls far enough, he would fit for the Titans? He would fit for the Titans. I mean, they're going to look for an edge. They're going to look for a linebacker. And Parsons, though, I don't see him getting past the Raiders, and I don't see him getting past the Dolphins, especially the Dolphins, because Brian Flores apparently absolutely loves this guy, and he could fit a lot of different players. I also don't think he'd get past the Indianapolis Colts. So if he falls to the Titans, I'd be very, very shocked. But there are apparently a lot of teams out there that don't even have him on their big board. Corey916 who would be a good lineman to take at 71 for the Broncos? So a good lineman to take for the Broncos, I think Christensen would be a pretty interesting name. Spencer Brown could be a pretty interesting name. When I think about who they could really get, probably the best fit there is a guy like Quinn Miners. I absolutely love Miners. He can do a lot of different things. And some of the biggest needs for Denver, center, guard. And I don't know if Miners is going to be a center or he's going to be a guard. And some people are like, well, he didn't play in 2020. He opted out. If there was a player that I think helped out his stock the most at Senior Bowl, it was Miners. I mean, this is a player that some people don't even know if he's going to get drafted. Now we're talking about him going in round 2, even in round 3. So we'll see what Denver ends up doing. But in perfect scenario, I think a guy like Quinn Miners to Denver at 71 would be a very, very good pick for them. Corey, I appreciate your question. If you want to go check out our Broncos channel, please do. It's youtube.com/BroncosTV.